Guys, so I am sitting at my vintage farmhouse table. It's finally done. It is super smooth and I just love the stain on it. I hope you will watch this video all the way through so that you can learn the steps of stain and the whitewash and the waxes that I use to get this gorgeous weathered vintage look. I use two tutorials by two of my favorite DIYers, and I will link them in the description below. But make sure you give me a thumbs up and subscribe for more DIY decorating videos. Thanks. Okay, so you're gonna want to start cutting your 2x3s, whatever width and length you want. And once you have those, I like to line them up with my table legs and decide what side should be on the outside, what side should be on the inside. And then you go ahead and do your pocket holes. I love the Craig pocket hole jig. It's so easy to use and it really opens up possibilities to make all kinds of furniture and things. So I like this one. My shop vac connects to it and it takes away all the sawdust. So then I cut more 2x3s to go down through the center. I have 3 braces for more stability. And once all the pocket holes are drilled, then you can go ahead and attach them together. So here I am marking on my table leg 1 inch from the outside, and then I'm drawing a line, and I'm going to line up my 2x3 with this line. That way it's the same on each leg. And then I also like to mark the leg, you know, where the outside is and where the braces are coming off of. Go ahead and get help for this step. Have someone hold the board there as straight up and down as you can so that you can level the outside with the carpenter square. See how it takes me just a second to make sure it's flush. And then you can screw it in place. And it makes it so much easier to have that person holding it for you. I used 2.5-inch screws and it was perfect. And then go ahead and you're gonna want to measure out your interior 2x3s to make sure they're evenly spaced apart. If they're off an inch or so, not a big deal, but you just want to space them out just to have the balance and stability for the whole table. So now you can make the tabletop. And I just used off the shelf 1x6 boards. They're 8 feet long. And you want to go ahead and line them up and put the top side underneath. So right now I'm marking up the underside. And I'm marking all my pocket holes about 8 inches apart. And I drew a triangle across so that I knew which order the boards are in. The 1x6 boards are actually not 1 inch, they're 3/4 of an inch. So I'm going to adjust my Craig pocket jig to 3/4 of an inch. I adjusted the screw and then I can go ahead and make all the holes. So I made the holes at the end, but those get cut off. So don't make the holes at the end yet because we're going, after we connect all of our boards together, then we're gonna go ahead and do final cuts on each end so they're perfectly flush. When I applied the wood glue the very first time, I put way too much. It was squishing out the top and bottom. It was a total mess. It was difficult to clean up. And so after that, I realized I could just use my finger. I could smooth it out, get a nice even layer, and avoid a ton of cleanup afterwards. So that's what I would suggest. That was kind of my learning moment with the wood glue. And then you're gonna wanna go ahead and clamp the boards for each screw that you attach. So I used 1.5-inch screws for the tabletop because my boards are just 3/4 of an inch. And seriously though, I'm gonna undo that clamp and I'm gonna set it up at the next screw because you really wanna make sure your boards are flat and even as possible. It's a little extra work, but it seriously pays off in the end to have a really nice smooth table surface now. So after all those screws are in, now I'm going to measure my entire tabletop and decide how much I'm going to shave off. And then I'm going to go ahead and mark that, and I'm using clamps and a level to give me a straight edge for my circular saw. And it was super easy, quick. Now I have a perfectly flush end. And then at this point, I asked for help to hold up my tabletop as I move my tabletop all the way through so that I can add the pocket holes along the edge. And these pocket holes are going to attach to your breadboards. Your breadboards are the finishing piece ends. And so I just use select pine. As you can see, I'm going to clamp it in place, make sure that it's even and flush on both sides. And then, again, you want to use the wood glue and then clamp for every time you screw it together. This was really important. It helped keep things flush and nice. This clamp by Craig is really nice and smooth. It doesn't mar your wood, so I highly recommend it. So you guys, the sanding and staining part is seriously one of the most important pieces of it. It's maybe not the most fun, but you have to sand with all 4 grits, 80, 120, 180, and 220. And then you want to totally clean it up, vacuum it, wipe it, tack cloth. And then I used a staining sponge to go ahead and put wood conditioner. After that was on for 30 minutes, then I used my favorite Farmhouse stain by Old Barn Living. And when you wipe it on, you can just really see how beautiful it is. There's no fumes, it has natural ingredients, it's gorgeous. And I didn't want any excess. So when I wiped it on, I really wiped off any excess and tried to make it go as far as possible because I wanted that nice warm finish. Okay, so with the 220 grit sanding sponge, you want to go with the grain of the wood and give a nice even sanding over the beautiful stain you just did. This will allow the next layer to adhere, and it adds to the smoothness of the wood. So again, I'm using a staining sponge to apply the whitewash by Varathane. And you really want to make sure that you spread it out evenly and that you don't have any excess wetness or pools of the whitewash stain. This is what really gives it that nice French vintage look. It gets into the grain and it's just absolutely stunning. But we're going to warm it up and then cool it down with our next steps. So again, you want to sand with the grain and just to give it a nice even finish. And all this sanding, after we sand, you want to make sure to wipe everything off, make sure the surface is clean and clear of all debris so that nothing gets trapped under your next layer of stain or wax or whatever process you're doing. So I'm using Weathered Oak by Varathane, and this is a really beautiful, transparent, cool gray toned stain. It cooled it down so much so that I went ahead and did one more layer of my Old Barn Living stain, the Farmhouse color, because my top needed some warmth. And then after that, then I went ahead, after it was totally dry, I added this special dark wax, which just gave it a beautiful finish. However, I did white wax on the legs because they turned out darker. So after you set your tabletop down and get your base all measured and marked and lined up, then you're going to want to go ahead and add the attachment brackets. And all this does is holds the top to the base, and I'm marking my spots to pre-drill so that I don't have any splits or cracks. And you just want to make sure you don't drill too far down because remember, our top is only 3/4 of an inch thick. And then I'm standing on the base to make sure that it's flush with the top and has a real nice secure fit. This part was super easy, and then I just had somebody help me right the table. And if you want, you can add one more layer of polyurethane just to add durability to your tabletop, but the wax has a nice finish. The wax won't last forever, so if you don't want to keep reapplying wax each year, I would highly suggest a matte finish for polyurethane. I had a great time making this table. I still can't believe I made a table. I hope you're inspired. This table cost me about $350 because I already had some tools and supplies, but it's seriously a gorgeous table and can be totally customized to the width and length of your choosing. So please give me a thumbs up and subscribe for more DIY and decorating tips. See you guys.